Hello, this is Spellbinder with the 50 mind-blowing facts about America that our founding fathers never would have believed. It's a Curtin Imo posting on September 8, 2010. And you can find it in Infowars.com. It says, if our founding fathers were alive today, what would they think of America? Surely they would be very proud of the United States stretches from Atlantic to Pacific and has built some of the most amazing cities that the world has ever seen. They would probably be surprised that the country has went on to become the greatest economic machine in history of the world, and they would be absolutely astonished by the things like our interstate and highway system and the internet. However, there are quite a number of things that would be horrified about as well. The fact that over 40 million Americans are dependent on the federal government for their daily food would be deeply disturbing to our founding fathers. Also, the fact that the U.S. government has accumulated the greatest mountain of debt in human history would be incredibly distressing to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and the rest of the founders. But perhaps most of all, our founding fathers would be absolutely disgusted that the land where the Americans could once be free to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness has become so tightly regulated and controlled that Americans dare not squeak without the permission of the federal government. Needless to say, our founders would certainly not understand many of our institutions, many of the advanced technologies that we have today. But without a doubt, they would be able to grasp how far we have fallen as a nation and how far we have strayed from the fundamental principles that they enshrined in our founding documents. The United States is a much different place today than it was in 1776, and unfortunately many of the changes have been for the worse. The following are 50 mind-blowing facts about the modern America that our founding fathers never would have believed. Number 1. In 2010, not only does the United States have a central bank, but it also runs our economy and issues our currency. The Federal Reserve has devalued the U.S. dollar by 95% since 1913 and has used to create the biggest mountain of government debt in the history of the world. Amazing. Number 2. U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit has ruled that U.S. government agents can legally sneak into your property in the middle of the night, place a secret GPS device on the bottom of your car, and keep track of you everywhere that you go. That's America. The land of the free, home of the slave, I guess. Land of the unfree and home of the slave. Number 3. The 50 wealthiest members of Congress saw their collective fortunes increase by $85.1 million to $1.4 billion in 2009. Google the 50 wealthiest members of Congress and vote them out in November. Just find these rascals that made that much money while everybody else was pinching and trying to punch and shove to keep themselves above water. Number 4. The U.S. government has accumulated a national debt that is rapidly approaching $14 trillion mark. Amazing. Number 5. All of the United States asphalt roads are being ground up and being replaced with gravel because it's cheaper to maintain. The state of South Dakota has transformed over 100 miles of asphalt roads into gravel over the past year, and 38 out of 83 countries in the state of Michigan have now turned some of their asphalt roads into gravel roads. Number 6. Americans now owe more than $849 billion on student loans, which is more than the total amount that Americans owe on their credit cards. More than the credit cards, and there's no jobs to pay it back. Number 7. In 2010, Americans waste an astonishing amount of food. According to a study by California Integrated Waste Management Board, 63% of the average supermarket's waste stream of food. When you break that down, it means that each supermarket wastes approximately 3,000 pounds of food each year, which could be given to the homeless and the people in need. Number 8. The city of Cleveland plans to sort through curbside trash to ensure that people are actually recycling properly. If it's discovered that some citizens are not recycling, they will be hit with very large fines. Welcome to Britain, where they track your garbage and if you put your lid on or not, and give you a fine for everything on your garbage. Number 9. Once upon a time, the U.S. industry was the envy of the world, but since 1979, manufacturing employment in the United States has fallen by 40%. And going down further, as I see it. 10%, or number 10, even though the U.S. population has exploded in size, the number of Americans with manufacturing jobs today is smaller than the number of Americans who were employed in manufacturing in the 50s. Number 11, having 1 out of every 8 Americans enrolled in the food stamp program is now considered the new normal, and America continues to drop into poverty in astonishing numbers. Yes, they're putting everybody on welfare It's called a welfare state. It's the New World Order. Number 12, 1 out of every 6 Americans is now being served by at least one government anti-poverty program. Wow, see? They have to go get help from the government. And that's socialism. Number 13, a family of 4 actually has difficulty surviving on income of $50,000 in the year of America in 2010. Number 14, Barack Obama is backing the proposal to create a national database that will store the DNA of all individuals who have been arrested, even if they end up not being convicted of a crime. Wow. Number 15, in 2010, it takes the average unemployed American worker over 8 months to find a job. Wow. Number 16, the U.S. government has made some parts of Arizona off-limits to U.S. citizens because of the threat of violence from Mexican drug smugglers. The federal government has actually posted signs more than 100 miles north of the Mexican border warning travelers that certain areas are unsafe because of drug and alien smugglers. Number 17, one recent survey at last year's college graduate discovered that 80% moved back into home with their parents after graduation. Number 18, in one of the very first military commissions held under the Obama administration, a U.S. military judge ruled that confessions obtained by threatening the subject of rape are admissible in court. Jack Bauer is alive and well in our government. Number 19, the average American worker now pays literally dozens of different kinds of taxes each year. Dozens of taxes. Money to be made from your pockets. Keep you poor, make them rich. And number 20, in recent years, the U.S. government has spent $2.6 million in tax dollars to study the drinking habits of Chinese prostitutes and $400,000 to pay researchers to cruise to Buenos Aires, Argentina, to find out why gay men engage in risky sexual behavior when drunk. That's a good spending of money, huh? What a waste. What a waste. What a government's a waste. 21. Christians are being arrested and thrown in jail in some areas of the United States for quietly passing out Christian literature on public sidewalks. Yes, in a Christian country, America, you are now considered a terrorist if you pass out Christian literature and can be arrested for it. Wow, must be nice to be in America, huh? 22. The Florida State Department of Juvenile Justice has announced that it will begin using cutting-edge analysis software to predict crime by young delinquents and will place potential offenders in prevention and re-education programs. Yes, welcome to the Soviet Union. 23. Organic milk is now considered such a national crisis that the FDA has been conducting military-style raids on the Amish in the state of Pennsylvania. Yes. You better make sure your milk is pure, even been pasteurized and destroyed all the vitamins and stuff before you buy it. You can't have healthy milk. Forget that in America. 24. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency recently announced that they are considering a crackdown on farm dust. Yes, if you now kick up dust out in the middle of nowhere, you can be fined for it. It's money to be made. 25. According to the new CDC report, nearly half of all Americans now use prescription drugs on a regular basis. Yes, pharmaceuticals are making billions and zillions now off of you. And they all have side effects that will kill you. Welcome to eugenics. 26. Oakland, California Police Chief Anthony Bates says that due to the severe budget cuts, there are a number of crimes that his department will simply not be able to respond to any longer. The crimes that the Oakland police will no longer be responding to include grand theft, burglary, car wrecks, identity theft, and vandalism. That's right. They got better things to do, like collect a paycheck. 27. Today, Americans are losing their homes in staggering numbers. 1 out of every 7 mortgages were delinquent or in foreclosure during the first quarter of 2010. Yes, everybody's going homeless. It's the new thing in the free America. Be homeless. 28. Many of our leading scientists are now calling themselves transhumanist and are openly proclaiming that a future where men have fully merged with machines is inevitable. Cyborg world. 29. Americans who spend large amounts of cash are viewed as potential criminals by the U.S. government in 2010 because if you have credit, they can take it away at any time and for any reason. 30. New full-body security scanners going in airports all across the United States can actually see through the clothing and produce a clear, very detailed image of our exposed bodies as we walk through them. Perverts. 31. The U.S. financial system has become a massive gambling parlor. In 2010, as a result, a horrific derivatives bubble has developed that threatens to destroy our entire economy at any moment. Nobody knows exactly how big the derivative bubble is, but low estimates place it around $600 trillion, and high estimates put it around $1.5 quadrillion. Unfathomable amounts. Once the bubble pops, there simply will not be enough money in the entire world to fix the problem. They won't be able to print enough. They'll have to cut all the forces down to do it. 32. The U.S. government is spending an amount of money equivalent to approximately 25.4% of the GDP this year. Actually, it's cotton they make the money out of, but 33% today. Number 33. Today, 10,000 people make 30% of the total income in the United States. Used to be like 50%, but not anymore. Not in the socialist America. USSA. 34. In 2006, Immigration and Customs Enforcement investigators discovered that 250 employees of the Defense Department used credit cards or PayPal to purchase images of children in sexual situations. However, the investigation also found that the Pentagon investigated only a handful of these cases. Perverts in the government. 35. According to a recent poll, the Americans between age 44 and 75, 61% said that running out of money was their biggest fear. The remaining 39% thought death was scarier. 36. Approximately 57% of Barack Obama's $3.8 trillion budget for 2011 consists of direct payments to individual Americans or money that is spent on their behalf. 37. A recent Department of Justice guide for investigating the criminals and extremist groups splits constitutionists and survivalists among organizations like Al-Qaeda and the Aryan Brotherhood. Yes, you can't be an American anymore in America. You gotta be a socialist Maoist like Obama. 38. The U.S. trade deficit has exploded into a nightmarish proportion over the past 2 decades. Every single month, tens of billions of dollars goes out in the United States and comes into it. A century, the United States is becoming far poorer of a nation each and every month because more money leaves than comes in. 39% of factories are closing in droves across the United States because American people would rather buy things made in China instead of buy a made American. 40. Millions of people, millions of good-paying middle-class jobs are being shipped off to China, and they are never coming back. Meanwhile, the U.S. politicians stand by idly doing nothing because they're making buku bucks doing nothing. You need to control that. Some analysts now believe that China could become the largest economy in the world by the year 2020. 42. If the U.S. government was forced to use GAAP accounting principles like all publicly traded corporations must, the annual U.S. government budget deficit would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 to $5 trillion. 43. According to one recent survey, 28% of the U.S. households have at least one person that is currently searching for a full-time job. 44. U.S. dollar continues to rapidly decline in value, and an item that costs $20.70 will cost you $112 today. An item that cost $20 in 1913 will cost you $440 today. See, the money is worthless. 45. Major international organizations are actually proposing that the United States start considering the adoption of a truly global currency. Yes, we'll be globalized and turned into a third world country. 46. Students at high schools in Missouri have built a car that they claim can get up to 450 miles per gallon. On another note, some of the top energy experts in the world believe that thorium could solve our energy problems and could very cheap energy for the society for hundreds of thousands of years. But in today's world, technologies such as these are endlessly suppressed by the rich and powerful oil companies. 27. One Colorado high school student is seeking an explanation from officials at his high school after he was ordered by security guards to remove an American flag from his truck because they might make out other students at the high school uncomfortable. Yes, the illegals will be uncomfortable that you have an American flag. 3 California high school students were recently forced to remove their American flag t-shirts on Cinco de Mayo Day because you're in Mexico, you're not in America. Where do you think you're at? 49. Memorial crosses erected along Utah public roads in honor of fallen state troopers have been found unconstitutional by federal appeals court and now must be removed permanently. Yes, crosses are now an evil thing because they represent Christians and good things. 50. One group of high school students made national headlines recently when they revealed that a security guard ordered them to stop singing the national anthem during a visit to the Lincoln Memorial. Yes, you can't even do that. And that's it. Good day.